Okay, so I'm back again and I'm trying to instill some good habits. It's Sunday at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and I wanted to. This video, I'm just going to go through how I mark up the charts and to prepare for the week ahead. As you can see right now, the chart is quite messy. I've got lots on here. Because I do tend to keep my markings on there, but I know that you should really have a clean chart as best as you can, and so that you're focused on the right things. But I'm also conscious that you want to, some price action has a tendency to kind of, some key levels that you mark out can affect, or you see price react to it later on. So it's good to keep certain things on your chart. So if we start off, I'm going to start off with the daily chart. Actually, no, I'm actually going to, I feel like I should just take everything off and start afresh with some new markings and new eyes to look at exactly what is going on. As I say, I was bullish up until this point. So let's just do it. I get a bit weary about doing this in case there's something that I miss, but I think that's the whole point, isn't it, really? So let me remove my 53 drawings. There we go, done. I'm clean. What you can see here are from the indicators that I have. So here we now have a clean daily chart. I'm going to go up one level and start with the week. Reason being because I think that it's important to kind of see where we are from a weekly point of view. I don't like to go higher than a monthly just because I get too kind of confused as such. But as you can see on a weekly point of view, I can see that my eyes firstly drawn towards this gap here on the weekly chart. And so I am going to mark that up purely because we have just kind of approached that. And also if you think about high, low, high, low, high, low, higher, high, lower, low, this would have been our breaker here, this down close. Well, this is the lowest down close candle, right? So we had a high, we had a low, we had a higher high and a lower low. Obviously here we didn't have the, your market structure shift would have been at this point where we do have a gap here and it's filled. So let's actually just mark these things up for now. So I am going to do this one and I'm going to say weekly gap. All right. Did I right? Yeah, there we go, weekly fair value gap. So we're inside that there. I also have one here. So let me just bring that one down here, which I think is still important because as you can see we still have a break in that gap. Yeah, there, and that's it from this point of view. I could one of these breakers or order block. I mean, it's interesting that if you notice we stopped bang on consequent encroachment of that weekly fair value gap. So to me, I believe that we may not be at the complete high, but I feel like we're approaching a turnaround, an SMR, but I could be wrong. So let's keep going. So let's drop down to the next to our daily and see what that looks like. So we've got, this is our series of gaps that this was the draw in liquidity. We already surpassed our yearly open, I think. Why is it not marked up? Weekly, monthly. There should be a little Y somewhere. It's hiding. Maybe I'll see it on the next one. But I am going to mark up this one here because I believe this could be our draw in liquidity. Although, I don't know, it really depends on what Monday does. If Monday opens low, closes high, then we could be continuing up. If Monday opens high and closes low, then we could be going down. And if you notice that previous day high and previous day low, look at that. And we're right inside it. So which way are we going to go? When we've already taken our objective, which was the yearly open, we do need to wait for more information to see what's going to happen next. So that's kind of really where I'm at, is see what's going to happen next. But I would say, so this was our daily, I don't want to extend it, what was it, daily fair value gap. Yeah. All right. What else do we need to mark up on this? I mean, technically, this is our market structure shift. Low, high, lower, low, higher, high. This high wasn't quite in a gap. Well, it wasn't quite in a gap, but we've broken it and created a gap. So maybe does it need to come back down here to rebalance? We've still got this massive gap here, which is quite clear. And as you can see, this is still part of a weekly fair value gap that we've got. All right. What else do we need to mark up? I think before I had this one marked up. This was a daily fair value gap. Maybe I should change the color of that so I know where I am on the day. We'll make the daily fair value gaps blue. Yeah, there's a small one there. But we're nowhere near that right now. So let's just stick with what's going on up here. I can see stuff here. So let's mark these ones up. So we've got, yeah, we're on the daily. There's one there of note. Let's also mark this. Wow, this is a series of imbalances, isn't it? Where you've got this massive gap, which is within that, so that's fair enough. And then you've also got this big gap here. So I really think we're coming back down. There's no way all this happens across that high and we don't come back to it. I just don't, I can't see that not happening. I really can't. In my opinion. So yeah, so let's have a look. And if we look at this is we're on the daily. So as I say to you, we're on consequent encroachment of this weekly fair value gap, which is quite clear. I mean, as I say, if we open depending on where we open, if we open low, run up higher and then close lower, then that would look like a retracement. That's exactly what I think would be happening, but as I say, could be wrong. But I do like the sound of that, just purely because of how these candles have gone. Got 1, 2, 3. We've got a big gap here. We've got this series of inbound. Yeah, you've got to come down, and we need to balance this out. So whilst I might have to sit out Monday to see what happens, we'll see. But otherwise, if we do get above this gap here, then this is the first draw of the liquidity, and then we've got these two relatively equal highs. So this would be our next one. Yeah, this is our light side. Okay. All right, so let's just take it down one more level to the 1 hour. And as you can see, as I would have mentioned, this was our previous day high and previous day low, where you can see that we had this massive drop in the last kind of 10 minutes of Friday. But we've left these like very equal highs, so I wouldn't be surprised if we grab that liquidity first thing and then drop down, possibly. But as you can see, these are the series of opens from that daily fair value gap, and again here I had marked up previously the retracement of 50% of this swing, which is just here. And I remember Rich the Bull saying that, you know, these retracement to equilibrium is generally 90% chance it's going to happen. So that's what I would be looking for this week, in all honesty, is that happens. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I really am confident that this is, I say confident, I feel like that is what's going to happen. I mean, my problem with the whole kind of where it is just at what point do you draw? I believe it's when you've taken that high. Where did your dealing range start? Because otherwise I would have said it was started here, because this is when the original move would have started. And if I move it down to here, where we took that high, that's when that upward movement started in my mind. And so that would put, wow, slap bang here, which would have been the second, kind of in that, that's right in the middle, isn't it? Right in the previous week's high. That also looks very plausible as well. But as I say, time will tell as to which one is right. If you do know, then please drop a comment for me to let me know. Is it the May or April 30th low for the dealing range, or is it the low of the Sunday, May the 11th, the 6 o'clock open is the low for that? Is that the dealing range that I should be looking for when I'm looking at this equilibrium of the range? So yeah, so in terms of numbers, you're kind of halfway through here. I'm actually going to just put on my advanced price ranges, change it to 1,000 just to see where we're at. There's a lot of lines, but it does help me to, let's just get rid of this because I don't need it right now. to see where we are in that range. So we're just below 50%. I feel we're going up there tomorrow, only because we've got this gap which happened right across this 21,000 level. The gap was straight across there. I believe then we have to get to equilibrium. Maybe from equilibrium we might come back down and retest before getting to 22. And then we could come back down to our 50% equilibrium. So yeah, that's it. Just a short, was it 15 minutes to talk through what's happening. I will also say I discovered the Asia session ATM model, which looks at, you know, the algorithm taking the liquidity between 6 and 7 and then retracing to either the opening range or the opposite side's liquidity. So I'm actually going to be looking at that later on this evening if I get the time. I did always want to try trading the Asia session. A lot of people say that there's not enough volatility, enough people in the market, etc. But I like it because there shouldn't be any surprises. Because of the fact that, you know, you don't necessarily have too much news, no news there, unless obviously there's a late night announcement. So everything should kind of run smoothly. Yes, it may take a bit longer, but I think it's cleaner to me as to what's happening. I back tested it yesterday, and I'll drop a link to the guy Chairmain, somebody or another. Sorry, I'm not too familiar with them. So Chairmain gave a really good video. Obviously, this is a ICT concept. So full credit there, but he broke it down quite simply and just showed how, like, you know, I can understand why they called it the Asia Session ATM. I back tested it just over, you know, just looking at for the last kind of 2 weeks, and I think I got it right probably about 80% of the time. You know, a lot of the time where I didn't get it was because I was impatient, as we all know that I suffer from that patience thing. But yeah, I think I am going to try it because that's timing might work for me, not being at work, but obviously I still do have a child to look after, so depending on how things go, but we'll see. So that's it for me. Please do drop a comment, let me know how that market is going, if I've marked up the right things, if there's anything I've left off. But essentially, we're either looking, I think we're going to take this equilibrium tomorrow because it's so close anyway. We're building up this liquidity here. People are putting their buy stops. You're going to get, or we're going to go down here. If we drop below this point, and that could be your market structure shift. High, low, higher, high, lower, low. Retest and then go back down, as I say, to that 50% equilibrium of that dealing range that I was looking at. So yeah, that's it. Good luck this week.